Hello, my name is Raman Bonte, and I'm from the Netherlands. I'm based in the Netherlands, just outside of Amsterdam. And I met Jim in 2012 when he was a speaker at a conference in Vienna. And the conference was hosted by the Crimson Circle. So, Jim has done um, some meetings with them together with Jeffrey Hoppy, and he mentions Adamus SaintGermain sometimes in the work. So that was the first time that I met him. Actually, I was there with my girlfriend, and she was very much into the Crimson Circle, and I was just, we were on having a holiday and enjoying this weekend with the Crimson Circle. And I was listening to Jim as a guest speaker, and something just clicked. I mean, it was like I was getting a download, and I was like, wow, I got recollections from the age of like 4 years that a part of me had been doing this work all the time. It was, it was just a knowing, and he was very humble speaker, and I was astonished that there was so much depth to what he was saying. So and I just went along, and while going along, my world started changing. My relationships started changing. I began. Uh, I think one of the best things that I got from Adamus was he was always talking about the first thing you want to navigate your life is clarity. And the tools that I got from the Mastering Alchemy, they really started giving me the clarity. So I had been listening to all this work by Crimson Circle, and in my mind I had some kind of idea. I also had done ayahuasca sessions, and so I had some experience of the soul, and so it was already real in a way, but it wasn't really clear yet, or I just felt there was so much more. And it was a journey, and it kept unfolding until this day. So, and I must say that the work with from a Mastering Alchemy, it's the most complete. It's like, you when I was young, I would have these building kits where you build an aeroplane or a tank or whatever, and it would say all parts included, including a paint and a glue. But to make it real, it takes these essential steps, and a lot of the times the steps that people want to take, they're much too big. It's like, you just have to love yourself, but it's the step is too big actually. So just by taking these little steps and the sequence of the steps, so the sequence, the unfolding, that is really meticulous work. And that's is what Jim is saying, but it's also my experience that you really need to it's like the building kit. You have step one, step two, and you have these, and you just follow the yellow brick road, as to say. And it is, yeah, it is an assembly indeed. And there's an order to it, and that also makes it, like a bit of maybe mechanical or technical, but it's also very clear. And what is very important is that you go back, because I'm going back often to the beginning, the most simple things, and now it has so much more depth into it. So, and it's like an organic thing. It's when I hear it now, things that I listened to 3 years ago, it's just like I'm listening to it for the first time and hearing different things. So, but to get the most out of it, that you really you needed really want it, and really engage in it and make it real. But that's I mean, that's your own part. What I like about it is that things start coming to you. And what I mean by that is that you stop pushing other people. You can stop. That's what I did. Stop trying to manipulate your life and just really start being there in your own presence, and start to decide what you want to create or how you want to feel, and then be in your life and let it come to me, let it come to you. So I applied it in my working space with the people that I was engaging in my relationship, and that relationship finished, probably because of Mastering Alchemy. And I think my ex-girlfriend and me, we both benefited from it. But that was tough for me. It was tough breaking up. It was tough, but it was for me, it was essential. So that came with the clarity. Yeah. So it's not always easy, and then you have to, once you see things, yeah, you cannot go back, in a way. So I took my responsibility there, and maybe there were other ways, but that's the road that the path that I went to. It's not always easy from a human standpoint to then act upon the things you start seeing, and also coming back into trust with oneself, because am I really seeing? So it brings up also a lot of issues. So yeah, but it's changed every aspect of my life. Yes. Yeah, so it is a toolbox with all parts included. It's all parts included, but then you have the tools, but then you really have to, when to use what. You really have to discover for yourself. You have this hammer and a saw and all kinds of things, but you have a lot of different situations in your life, and sometimes it's not good to bring out the heavy equipment on the job. So that is for you to find out, but that's also what makes it real and makes it personal. So you can get as deep as you want with any aspect of the course. So and also Jim says a lot of times, the faster you go, the sooner you will arrive. And I think in most of the times you will realize it when you're at the end of the course. You realize you've been rushing some parts. I think a lot of people, especially people that start off, they feel alone. Like, I'm all here by myself and I can't connect with anyone. And a lot of people feel alone in this journey. And from my experience, I didn't really have to explain anything. There was just this understanding on a much deeper level, and seeing and being seen for who you really are. And that really does something. And it gives you a lot of, feeling of, I'm not alone and we are connected. And it's beautiful. I think that's a part of being a human. Well, I've been in music and electronics, so they go hand in hand. I'm behind me. Maybe you can see it. It's guitars and amplifiers. So I have a company where I design tube amplifiers for guitar, bass players, and a lot of it goes hand in hand with Mastering Alchemy, because it's a lot about all the electronic aspects, and it's also in our vocabulary. Some is tension, resistance, and grounding. I mean, it's if the amplifier isn't grounded well, you get a lot of hiss, you get a lot of noise. So relationships have changed, and in the sense that you start feeling much more layers, and where the connection is coming from. The energy behind the connection. Some people call it karma or whatever, but there's always some kind of energy. Why you're in a relation with this person, and so here again is the clarity. What is bringing us together, and so that changes the whole game, and also that you start thinking, what kind of relationships do I want? Right? How do I want to feel in any given relationship? So, and then it comes down to a lot of it comes down to allowing that to happen. Are you really ready for a change? Because it's if you really want to, you can do it. So, and then is it, do you want to allow that to happen? And that can be confronting, because there are parts of you that really don't want to change. Because they're not gonna last. I'm much more aware in my the daily, the mundane parts of your life. You have this, in this day, you have a lot of parts that are just, they seem to be like throwaway moments, but those are key moments, because then you really become conscious of being unconscious. That's what Jim talks about a lot. So then you start seeing your patterns, especially in those quiet, dead, uninteresting moments and uninteresting aspects of your life, which are not uninteresting in any way. There's a lot to gain. So